Hello, 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 everybody. My name is Jackson Black. Welcome to another enticing, exciting episode of the Jackson Black Show. Thank you to all the viewers on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. And then later on after that, Pandora, Spotify, everybody, thank you for subscribing, liking, all that good stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest tonight, and one of my first training partners in the world of professional wrestling, Mr. Landon Ares. Now, how are you doing tonight, sir?
I am doing well. Thanks for having me.
I am stoked, bro. Stoked. So, how has life been?
It's been pretty good. Definitely a lot of things have changed, certainly since we last saw each other. So I don't know, things have just been really busy, but all the change is like good. So that's a good thing.
That is a plus. So let's dive right into the whole fun of this. What made you fall in love with the business of wrestling, of professional wrestling?
Well, that's a fun story. So I loved it when I was like a little kid, like probably like toddler, five, like 3, 4, 5, 6, those ages. I loved it a lot, but I was giving my dad a few too many elbows, and a few too many crossbodies. So my mom was like, "Veto, we cannot watch wrestling in this household. This man will become violent. He will attack. We can't do this." So I think probably when I was about like 8, I took a little break from watching it just because like wasn't really allowed to. And I just remember scrolling through the channels one day. I think this was like 2009, and I remember seeing Melina um, for the first time ever in WWE. It was like Monday Night Raw, and I don't know, something about her was very captivating. And it was like I watched the rest of her segment and I watched the rest of that show that night, and then I just became obsessed. And I thought for many years I was like too small to this, that, and the other to not be able to do it myself. But then I just kind of got over it, and here I am.
And here you are now. Got to get back into business. Get back into it.
That's
I
right.
love it. Okay, so who are like? I guess like besides Melina, I know the answer to this, but I'm gonna give it to them. Who's someone else you kind of like looked at in the business and you're like, okay, that's gonna be one of my focal points. That's gonna be one of my inspirations to get into this.
Yeah, okay, well, this is an obvious answer for you, but a big one for me is Nikki Bella. Um, I just I don't know, it's just interesting because we all like, I guess, like see ourselves in like certain wrestlers, and for me it was just Nikki Bella. I mean, like I just remember thinking that women's wrestling was just like the coolest thing ever. And I just remember watching like, the 30-second matches and everything. And I just got really behind them because I could tell that they had so much more. And this is just like in terms of WWE, because I know that other companies were doing other things with their women. Um, but I don't know, like just watching her take advantage of every opportunity she was given was really inspiring. And I think I don't know if people like give her the flowers that she deserves, because when I watch like especially her older matches, like with like Natty, like kind of before she was on her way out, her matches are really good. She knows how to wrestle, and I don't know, just yeah, watching that whole evolution that she had was really kind of like what did it for me.
It's a good answer, but my favorite women's wrestler would beat the crap out of all of them, and that's
Okay, who's your favorite?
Jazz.
Oh, okay. That's a good answer. I was like, who are you gonna say? I have no idea. Yeah.
And Trish Stratus has very much impressed me as of late.
Mm-hmm.
She seems to be like, I'm not saying she was like a bad wrestler by any points. She was signed forever, but she's so much better now. Like it's crazy how much like you could tell she's been in there hitting it.
It's insane. Like I just hear her talk and you just get like chills. You're just invested. I'm hanging on to every word. Like she and Becky are killing it. Like they are just doing, I mean, it's like we need to be taking notes because that is just like a level of storytelling that I feel like I haven't seen in a while. So it's incredible. They're doing an amazing job.
And it's crazy to think because she went from, and I 100%, it was the objectification of women in the Attitude Era. So she went from having like pudding matches and all bra
Oh
and
God.
panty matches or whatever the crap it was, to actually being like on the show now, like where she's legitimately a focal point as a wrestler and not just like eye candy.
Yeah, 100%. It's really I forgot about the pudding matches. That totally left my memory. But yeah, like when you think of it like that, it really is like insane what they're doing. And they just all like I think there were like three women's matches in Saudi, and that's like just incredible. Like they're doing all the things.
What a good that was a good show. I enjoyed parts of it very much.
Same.
Uh, I know it wasn't. The thing that popped me the most out of that whole show was it Jimmy or Jay? Jimmy.
Hmm.
That was talk about long-term storytelling.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Like I guess that's why like a lot of the other stuff kind of like is B level compared to the bloodline storyline and the crumbling of it's so good, man. That's good
Oh,
storytelling.
it's so good. I totally agree.
So let's go into training. I know where you trained. I also trained there, but so who was your trainer and let's go through how was that first day of a professional wrestling school?
Well, my trainer is Dr. Tom Pritchard, um, the best trainer ever. Um, I do remember my first day. I remember I wasn't able to like find this building, and I was already like, I'm like pretty I'm pretty subdued. Like my personality is quiet and like very out of the way until I'm really comfortable with someone or a group of people. So like, I'm shaking. I'm like sweating from nervousness. I can't even find the building. And I just remember like opening the door to JPWA and like seeing the ring for the first time like that close. And I was like, oh my God, like nothing is going to pull me away from this. I have never felt that way before. And I've been an athlete my whole life. Like I've been running, finished my last collegiate season last year in 2022. And so I've been doing this like my whole life, but nothing has made me feel the way that like wrestling feels. And I think, yeah, like I said, just like the first day, just like looking at the ring, there was a very special feeling there.
I remember the first day because I think we spent the whole time on the outside of the ring. I don't
Yeah.
think we got in there. Uh, I think it was Justin Savage, and he was like, he came by me, and he was like, "Oh man, we're gonna have time with you," because I came from amateur wrestling, and I locked up the
Hmm.
other way. Dude, it took me forever to break that bad cycle of the lockup. So do you remember your first bump you took? Do you remember how much that sucked?
Yeah, it hmm it sucks a lot. It hurts a ton, and it's not fun. So yeah, I remember the first bump. Yeah,
That was not fun. I think I only hit my head one time. It's
that's
the only
good.
time I've ever hit my head. Haven't done it since. That sucked. That was terrible.
Yeah, I agree. It's like it's weird how you get. I don't even know if you get used to it. Like it's hard to describe. Just because I'm sure you'll agree with this too. Like the first one sucks. It's terrible. You're like, oh my God, I feel like I was in a car accident. But then we do it like 100 times a night over the span of like 4 hours, and you're like fine. So it's just interesting how I guess you get better at it, like because it goes against everything that makes sense. Like you want to stop yourself from falling, stop yourself from getting hurt, but you can't do that. So you
Just
just
take it.
throw your body down. Yep.
So I remember. So let's go to. So we're in training. Let's go with the. Do you remember the first time you had to stand in front of that camera and cut a promo?
Oh, I sure do. How could I ever forget? Man, yeah. That was like the whole okay, so like what I've learned, I will say like my greatest takeaway from this whole journey is that it is one thing to dream something and to think of it in your head. It's a whole different ball game to go out there and do it. And like the biggest I think like I don't want to call it a rude awakening because it's like all process, like um was like the public speaking aspect is like really scary, especially when you don't know like who you are or whatever. It's like horrifying. But I remember, yeah, I just would let the timer go out. I wouldn't say a word. I just could not handle it. Like I'd just be sitting in front of the camera freaking out. And then I remember Dr. Tom was like, talk about a boat. And I don't know like what flipped, but I was
I
like, yo, this
remember
boat's
this.
on sale. Apparently you can get the boat at Walmart, like the whole thing. And it was like from that moment, like I was less horrified of the promos.
I'm super excited to see you get back at this, because there's just like there's nobody from our class besides like me, Kelsey, uh, Cubes, and sometimes regular size Rudy. That's what I call that fella. His name is Warren Adams. Sounds like a president.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But we need this class to show up and show out. So I'm glad that we're because I need to beat you up, man. Like
Ooh, no, I would love to get my hands on you, dude. I'm just saying, like, we're gonna have to have a fight real soon.
I hope it happens. So have you got back into training?
Yeah, so I started like back a few weeks ago. And I think I was approaching it the wrong way for a long time. But the whole like, you don't know better, you live and you learn. And it's like I just remember we were summer 2021, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah. So
April, yeah.
it's been like 2 years almost, which is crazy. But I just remember I was like, training all the time, going every single day, and then I was getting my workouts on top. I was working a full-time job, full-time student, like all this stuff. I felt like I needed to do everything to be able to be successful, but all I did was like destroy myself. And it's tough. Like it's tough to take care of your like brain whenever you're going to all these shows and you're hearing all these things, and you know how the wrestling world can be. I can be quiet as I want, but people care more about my sexuality than I do. And I can say nothing. I can just exist, and I will always hear a comment about it. And it's like I just was approaching it the wrong way, I think. Um, and I remember I'm kind of going on a tangent. I'm sorry.
No, no, dude, that's what it's for.
It's a very long answer to that question, but anyway. Um, I took some time off last July, I think, and I was like, I need a break. I need a minute. I gotta figure out where I'm going because I'm not gonna get anywhere doing this. And I remember I was like gaining tons of weight, just like really stressed. Um, and I actually decided to run cross country for college because I had that opportunity presented to me, and that was like a dream I had, was to be like a national level athlete. And so and of course, like certain companies are looking for college athletes around the ages, 20 to 25. And I'm like, if I can do this, maybe it will help me out. And so I did. I was very blessed to get through that season because I like, only trained like, I think for 6 weeks before the first race, and it was just brutal. I ended up breaking my foot in December from going that hard. Um, but again, like, yeah, I needed that break. I needed to get fit in a different way. I needed to chase some things that I really wanted before I could give wrestling what it deserved. And so now I feel like I've kind of ticked those boxes, and I've kind of gotten to a place where I can take care of myself and I'm not just like living out of desperation all the time. And so it definitely feels like time to come back. So I am
I'm
very
glad
excited.
that's a great answer. No one really understands, and I've said this on a episode I think with Insane Dane, and it's gonna get serious for a second,
Yeah,
just
late
for a
on me.
second. So it's like the more the profession asks out of you, not that this doesn't really pertain to yours, but in a certain way it kind of does. Uh, People go really, really hard and they burn themselves out, and then they find vices, and then they try to okay, I'll get like this 2 hours of feeling great, and then the rest of the week I feel like crap.
Mm,
So it's like acting, it's like chefs, it's like anybody, athletes, anybody that's like on a higher level. You'll notice that there's a good. It's the numbers have went down obviously now because of such access to help and things, but it leads to to drug addiction, it leads to alcoholism, it leads to suicide, it leads to all these bad things. So it's probably the best thing possible is to, you know, cut away for a little bit, get your mind right, and then get back into it because it's shit can go wrong and it just goes downhill from there. Anyways, that was
Yeah.
my tangent on that.
No, that's so valid. I think it's very true. I'm glad that the conversation is opening up and people are kind of talking about it because it's super important. And I think the reason why I am that way, why I go so hard, and why a lot of people are that way is because it's weird when you have dreams this big. You can't. It's not like we're following someone. We haven't had someone like walk the way in front of us, so we have to create it ourselves. Dr. Tom and like, some certain people for sure. But it's just like you have to find like your own journey, I think, at your own pace, and everything has its like timing. Um, but I just think a lot of us are conditioned to work backwards. We're like, oh, we always hear this story of this like one person who like won the lottery, or this one person who made it to, WWE, AEW, Ring of Honor, wherever. And those are the stories we're holding on to. We're not thinking about the majority where it's like it took so many failures. It took so many years of trying things and failing and all of that. It's like we are just hearing about the person who won the lottery or who won American Idol. And I think that that's really hard because that's what we all expect. I think honestly, we always feel like there's just going to be this moment where something happens and everything changes, but it's like a process where you change gradually. And of course, like just try to be ready for whatever, opportunity comes your way. So I just think I was approaching it the complete opposite way. I should have. And so, yeah, I think that that's like a big cause of like why, like the mental anguish and turmoil, I would say.
It's good stuff because if you recall, we had Natalia come in and she told us that she had actually been denied. They didn't want any piece of her after 8 tryouts, and then they
Mm,
finally were like, okay, we'll give you a shot. So like somebody with her lineage, it's just not given away. Like there are some people that they are just they're like those once in a generation kind of people that you're like, but you get why they're there.
yeah.
Like there's always you always got to have room for yourself, but you gotta like I don't know. I That's just the way I work. I'm a fucking nose to the grindstone kind of guy. I am all about, but that's just how I work. Like I get to
Hmm.
sleep when I can, but I'm like on 4 hours of sleep. That's the path for me. That's what I'm doing right now. Just because I'm old and I need to get there before I got to get there before I can't get there anymore.
Dang. Well, you do always grind. I will say that. There's never been a time where I've talked to you and you're not busy, now that I think about it. So, yeah, you're always grinding. So,
Just
kudos
got to
to
grind,
you.
man. Okay, so let's go. Take me. Ooh, I don't want to. Let's. I hope that wasn't the match. Let's. Okay, take me. Take me behind day one. I have a really good memory, so I know of a match that you had that you weren't so happy about.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's hope that let's go behind day one of the first match of your professional career outside of like the graduation. Now, how
Yeah.
did you feel? How did you feel before, like maybe before you hit the curtain, and then what were your feelings after you came back?
Yeah. So, the match that comes to mind is the one at Joe Kazana Promotions with my partner OT Green facing the Heat Seekers. And that was kind of like one of those things that, no one planned, like it all just happened that day. And I don't know, like I was obviously really nervous. Like I'm always like just, shaking the whole entire time. I'm shaking when I'm walking to the ring. Like I try my best to keep it together, but it's pretty daunting, but it's really like exciting and fun. So before I hit the curtain, I definitely was like really nervous, but I knew that I was with going facing incredible competitors, um and boy were they that, because I learned so much from that day and that match. And I just remember getting backstage and just thinking like, I can't believe that we just pulled that off. Like I just can't believe. um, that we did it, and it felt really good because I'm usually like really hard on myself. I like nitpick and everything, but I feel like that was a moment where I was like just I don't know, living the dream on a small scale. Like it was everything. It was an amazing day.
Yeah, and you can't go wrong getting in the ring with Sigmund. So like,
Oh yeah, he's awesome.
there's a learning tree right there that you could sit under for a while.
Yeah, totally agree.
That's a good match. I forgot that's a good match. Yeah, yeah, I remember that. I was like, what the what? How did they get?
Yeah,
How did they get this match? Okay, okay.
I was thinking the same thing.
Oh, wrestling is such a world of that card subject to change has gotten me, I'd say probably 20 times. I've went
Mm.
from singles matches into a tag match, into a triple threat, into a fatal four way, all within 22 minutes. So wrestling
Oh
is
my
it's
God.
always it's a by the seat of your pants. It's a that kind of a thing. Oh, anyways, that was a nightmare. So let's talk about who would be like four. I'm trying to get away from the Mount Rushmore talk. So who would be four like pivotal, inspirational wrestlers that you would say they don't even have to be wrestlers that added to creating you as a wrestler?
Man, that's a good question. I think about that a lot because I always think like who am I like referencing? Who am I like pulling from? And that it's like hard for me to answer that because I just don't I think because I am like pretty effeminate and like I come from an athletic background. I'm not saying that I'm a great athlete because I'm like, whatever, but it's just like really hard for me to see myself in like other wrestlers right now. It's weird because I like see it, I see a Nikki Bella and like but I admire like a lot of things I see. A big one for me would be like Evan Bourne. Like is a big one. Uh Dolph Ziggler is a unsung hero. The man, yeah, just I mean, I learn something every time I watch him. So that's definitely like another person that's really influential on me. And I would say like The Miz is a huge one for me. I love The Miz. He is a genius, and I feel like I see how responsible and smart he is whenever he talks, and whenever he's wrestling, and it's just he's really something special. So those are kind of like my biggest influences, at least in the wrestling world.
You can't go wrong with Dolph Ziggler. I had a guy on. I actually wrestled him in Mississippi. I think the episode was out uh, this past weekend up at EPW in Mississippi, and his guy is Kurt Hennig, and we were talking, and I was like, well, Dolph Ziggler is this era's Kurt Hennig. Like they both like. I'm not gonna say they oversell, but they sell. They fucking sell. Like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like the oh man. But yeah, I said yeah. Dolph Ziggler is very underrated. He's so good that like you forget how good he is because he makes the people
Yeah.
around him look so good.
Yeah.
Like
Totally. I
Seth
totally
Seth
agree.
Rollins is like that.
Mm-hmm.
The Miz is definitely like that. That's when you get into that topic of, but then you don't want to ever say that because it's such a bad phrase, and you don't want to be known as a good hand. But those are all just
Right.
great hands right there. They're all just
Totally.
great hands.
Totally.
So if you could go nose to nose, toe to toe with anybody all time, dead and or living, who would you like to get in the ring with?
I feel like this is not the most well thought answer I've ever had, but I always think Austin Theory. I always think him because he is like the exact he what he represents is everything that I have struggled against. So I don't know, I just feel like he's a great opponent. Like I could just see the most incredible like story being told, and he is like a true heel. And I don't know, like when I see him, I'm just like, man, like I would love, like that would be an amazing match. Like that would be the dream, is like having like, like a US championship match against Austin Theory. Like that would be so sick.
Speaking of Austin Theory is so Austin Theory was on the Indies on the younger side, maybe like 1, 2 years in, maybe three. I'm not really sure. Yeah, I know he wasn't on there that long,
Hmm.
but he goes and they interviewed him and he goes, "Who would you like to wrestle?" And he goes, "Oh, I want to wrestle John Cena." He said, "I'm going to wrestle John Cena at WrestleMania." Holy shit! Speak that
Hmm.
one into fucking existence, can ya? Like
Hmm.
people hate on Austin Theory, and I remember John Cena's ruthless aggression when he came in. They hate on him the same exact way that they hated on John Cena.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to. Austin Theory is a fucking great athlete, but I'm saying everybody hates on him the exact same way they hated on John Cena. Now they all love John Cena. So I think you're getting to witness a a new rise of a John Cena, and that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, perhaps. He just makes such a great antagonist, though, that I would be curious to see if he can be a fan favorite.
Oh,
Um,
easy.
which you think so?
Oh yeah, easy.
I mean, he's got like the look and everything for it. I mean, he's just incredible. Like, I just think he's really good. And like, his personality just kind of rubs you the wrong way, but he is like one of those people who, says something and he really doesn't doubt it. And I feel like 99.9 repeating percent of the battle is like really believing that you can. And that dude believes he can, and he does those things. So yeah.
Okay, here's another one. So, have you paid attention to what's going on in the Indies around this state?
In this actual state, like
Yeah,
Tennessee,
yeah.
loosely.
Do you have like anybody that you would just like that you got to get in the ring with that's in the
Ooh.
state?
Ooh. I would say out of like the people that I know of around here, like I would love to face you. Um and man, that is a good question. Oh, I've worked with Vinzo before. Like I've had like a practice match with Vinzo. I think he's incredible. I think could have a really good match with him. Honestly, I would love to fight I would love to fight AJ. I think that would be a super cool um story to be told, that's just, lying in wake. So, but those are like the people that come to mind, like off the top of my head. I'm probably
Vinzo.
forgetting some really important people, but yeah.
Oh, Vinzo, I'm not capping with you, my brother. Like,
LOL.
I've been in I've been in car rides with him to Mississippi, and the thing
Oh,
the thing about Vinzo is he really loves Kanye West and Eminem and D12. He
I
he'll be
did
in the
not know
back.
that.
He'll be in the back singing it
What?
the whole time. Like,
That's amazing.
is it?
Mm,
Is it?
I'll let you decide. LOL.
I have yet to lock up with him. The last couple of times he came up to TV in Mississippi, I guess no one knew that he was coming, but I'm unsure what happened there. But I was trying to get a match there, but well, it'll happen.
Yeah.
It'll happen sometime soon.
Hmm.
So how was it? How was it getting back in the ring? Did you get the? How were the new bumps and bruises when you went back in there and started training again?
Honestly, better, I would say. The thing that I'm struggling with now is like from having the broken foot, that's the longest I've stayed sedentary. Like I just cannot, I like switched careers, I like moved jobs and like did all this stuff. I had a broken foot. So it's like I really was like out of shape in terms of like cardiovascular conditioning, like just on a level I haven't been in so long. So like I feel like I don't think I overshoot my skills in wrestling, because I know like where I stand and I know that I'm very green. But boy, was that some, I was just wheezing. Um, but in terms of like remembering things, like it all came back and it all felt really, really good. And like I just think I'm more thankful for it now too. And it's like every time I'm there, I'm just like thankful that I'm in the ring. I'm thankful that I'm around the people I'm around and that my body can, do those things. And so there's just a different kind of like mindset I think that goes into that, but it's been really good being back.
How's Doc? How's the Doc doing?
He's doing great. If you ask him, he'll say that he's doing great. So yeah, he's the best. I do have to say, like he is. I think he's probably the only mentor I've had that I think really believes in me as a person. This is independent of like my dreams or like my skills as a wrestler. I think like he's just has like given me so much. He's given me so much attention. He's giving me so many pointers, and I don't know why. I question that a lot of times because it seems like oftentimes we'll have class and then he and I are talking, or like he and I are interacting, and I don't know. I just feel very blessed by that because I just think he's just an amazing person. And so being around him and learning from him is like such a privilege. Like I'm gonna value that for the rest of my life. So anytime being around him is a good time.
Well, from a golden I always felt like the black sheep of the JPWA. That's how I feel. Uh, that is my feeling on it. Because back in the day, I used to have like all the new JPWA guys on a something, and then I just never. I don't know. Not that I was expecting anything, but he could have like accepted my friend request. Just
Oh,
saying.
well, I think like what really set you apart, especially from our class, is that you immediately went to work and started going to shows and everything. And I think that, I mean, you really created your own path, and that's like way different than what most of us did, especially me. I like stayed around and trained for a long time, over a year
I
before I had
did
my first
too.
match. Well, you did
I
too. Yeah,
trained.
that is true.
I trained for. I was there for about 7 months, and then I just started working every weekend.
Yeah, you've been going ever since too. So I do think like you definitely set yourself apart from most of the students in a way where you totally just kind of did things like yourself, which is like, I mean, we haven't really seen that from our school too many times. So I think you should give yourself a pat on the back, Jackson Black.
You know what? I try. I fucking I was on a podcast recently, and they were like, we were talking about the business and da da da. Da. And I told him, he goes, what makes you stand out? And I was like, well, it's funny that you asked that. So I fucking love this business. I spend a lot of time on this business. I am studying tape, and by
Mhm.
studying tape, I don't study the moves. I don't want to like let too much away, but like I'll study someone
Yeah.
throwing a punch, and then they're like little shit like that.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I'm on the in betweens now, and once you start getting those matches and those reps, because I was talking to somebody else, I think it took me like 20, 30, 40 matches before I ever heard the crowd.
Oh snap.
It takes a second. Like they were talking about, it slows down. You learn how to slow down because I bet the first 40 matches were the absolute drizzling uh, shits, as Doc would say. I can imagine that. But you start to learn to hear the crowd. I feel like the first little bit's tunnel vision. So like I can't wait for you to like, and then that one day it'll be like, and you'll be like, oh shit, there it is. I can hear everybody, and then you can feel them, and that's when it gets fun. Because when they're with you or they're against you, that's the feeling that I. As long as there's not crickets, you're doing something fucking good.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to become more seasoned and to get to that part because like I said, like I've been training for 2 years, but I've been training for 2 years. So it's like I'm definitely really excited to get out there and get the really practical hands-on experience. Because I just can't wait for those moments when it really starts to like make sense. Because it is true, like you can't I don't feel like me having that one match, like I've had more than one match. I've probably had like, maybe a dozen. But it's just like you learn so much from one match, um, as opposed to like training in the gym for like a while. And I mean it's like two very different things. of course, but you learn just so much from every match and every person you work with. So it's definitely excited to get back into that.
You definitely learn a bunch, and there's a lot of like you learn. It's crazy because going from to different states, they have different styles of wrestling, so you get to learn different
Hmm.
things and how to work in front of a crowd here as opposed to here, and they don't like that here, and they're okay with this. Uh, Believe it or not, and this is a shocking one, I'm a babyface everywhere now.
Really?
I swear to God.
Tell more. Do
Uh,
tell.
I have tried to some places. I they believe they're like, oh yeah, do your heel stuff, and then we're gonna boo you. But then they stop, and and then they stop. It's because the kids love me. So
Oh, that's good.
their parents are like, I guess we gotta like this guy. Because I remember 4 or 5 months ago up in Mississippi, I was coming out saying, "Oh, it's great to be in Alabama," and they're like, "This isn't Alabama," and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right. Only winners are from there, right?" Because they had
It.
just played like Old Miss and beat them, and so they nuclear heat, just getting heat out
Oh
the
yeah.
gate. Uh, and then I came back 2 months later, and they started like fucking popping for me, which is I was like, what's happening here? And then
That's
the
awesome.
show was like, you're super over, right? And I was like, yeah, I don't know what happened. I couldn't tell you. But TV wrestling, have you once you get in, that's fucking weird. Because you know how docs always like watch the hard cam, take that shit into fucking, like take that in. Because
I will. Noted.
because usually there's like a roaming camera. Sometimes there's two roaming cameras, but the hard cam at for, like the first little bit, I was absolute shits. I'd be out of fucking range and couldn't see facials. And now I find myself like in a match, like I don't want to give stuff, but I'll be like positioning people in front of the camera so I can get like ah. But that's
Nice.
crazy. Follow the hard cam stuff, work it to a T. Imagine that like there's like a roaming camera too, so look at that and talk shit and then go back to the it's crazy, man.
That
So
is
how
so exciting though. That's like great chaos. Like that's super cool.
it's hard it's wrestling is so much.
Oh yeah.
No one told me I guess I didn't have to do this. Like I didn't have to do podcasting and all this other crap I do. But you have to be a social media guy. Sometimes you have to be an artist. You have to be able to edit. Yeah. You have to be able to
Mm-hmm.
do like 15, 20, 30 things to do this business. And it's
Yeah.
crazy. And I tell everybody don't cut car promos because that's shit. Don't fucking do it. Unless you're Brian Pillman going to shoot Stone Cold in the head with a gun, do not cut a promo in a car.
Yeah.
And be professional. Like always my thing is suits. I wear suits everywhere. That's like my gimmick. That's what I do. So just find whatever your gimmick is and I'm imparting knowledge and this is not what I wanted to do. I'm sorry I'm rambling, brother.
No, you're good. No, you're good. It's good. It's good content.
So what do you envision where do you see yourself in this business in say like 5 years?
Where do I see myself? I see myself signed to a big company. Um, and just dealing with those kinds of things. That's what I see at least. I mean, that's definitely the goal. Um, so it's hard to like come up with specifics um, because I really haven't even developed my character too much. And so I don't know. That's like an interesting question because I haven't thought about that, but I feel very sound with what I want to bring to the ring now. And so yeah, just one step at a time, I can see myself like just growing my character and getting that experience under my belt.
I saw your character at I think it was JCP. I think you were doing heel work. Uh
Hmm.
that was really good though. That was you were engaged with the fucking audience. You were like that was good stuff. I think you're a lot closer to that character than you believe. And what I found is I remember I had like fucking one, two. I've had like three. Uh that's the best advice that I got one of the best, one of the best, one of the a couple. I don't even know how to rank it. Maybe five. Piece of like a little nugget of advice from Dr. Tom was just be you and turn that shit up to 11. That's what I do. Unless you're like super fucking talented as an actor, and it's hard to pull off any gimmick that's not you because eventually you will break.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
that's
you,
what, well, okay, so, oh, sorry, I'm going
no,
to
no,
just
you're
interrupt
good.
you.
No, 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 you're good. You're good.
Well, I appreciate you saying nice things about my heel work. But I have to say, like, I think that is like partially kind of like what also drove me to take a break was because that was like the opposite of what I ever wanted to show people. I did not want to be a stereotype. I did not want to feed that. I had fun doing it, of course, and I got reactions like totally. We're in Tennessee. I mean, my God. Um, so, I definitely, yeah, I just don't want to tell a cheap story. And I know that I have more to offer and more depth than giving into like what people expect me to do. But I have to do it very well for people to believe that I can be something different. And so I feel like that's kind of like what this next era is all about. And like the whole thing about like Landon Ares, Ares is the god of war, but more so it's about being like a demigod, right? So like everyone, um, we're like all stuck in this like human flesh prison, right? But that's like when believing in yourself becomes something that's like divine, because if you know that you're going to do something, then it's bound to happen. And I feel like that for me is like what Landon Aries is, because it's like everyone can relate to, wanting to, I guess, like accomplish their dreams. And a lot of people have to go without, a lot of people have to deal with a lot of adversity, whether that's like, I don't know, bullying or, financial problems, problems with the family, all that stuff. But it's like, at the end of the day, what keeps you going is knowing that tomorrow can be better. And I feel like that's what I want to be. I want, if people can see me, a 5'8" little Filipino boy out here kicking booty on a big platform, there's no way in hell that they couldn't do it too. And I feel like that's like what I need to bring out, because that's who I am. And that's like what I've tried to bring to so many other things in my life. And I feel like this could be where I do it right. So, yeah,
I like it. I like it. I like it. So
thank you.
let's do let's see here. Okay, let's do social media so people can find you on there. Give them the business.
You can find me currently at the Landon Aries on Instagram, and also Landon Aries on Facebook.
What he means is he'll have a TikTok with content coming and all that stuff because
I
that's the
need
game.
I need to get that TikTok.
It's actually pretty good. Mine's starting to pick up now. It's like slow going at first. I don't mess with Twitter because Twitter's just a nightmare.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. LOL, the look on your face is like cracking me up. Yeah, I agree. And TikTok is fun. It is fun. Yeah.
I have good interactions on. It's like it's so hard because you got to know what content to put where, and you
Hmm.
don't want to like double post and triple post the same content. It's difficult, man. It
It's
really is.
hard. It's really hard. Even like trying to create a plan for like what you're going to post and when you're going to post it. It's like you start it and then it becomes something completely different because the results are way different than what you expected. And so, yeah, you were right. You really do have to be like the jack of all trades. Like at least you have to give it a shot. You have to give all these different avenues of promotion a shot. And so it definitely is like something very, very different.
Yeah, I run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
Oh my God.
11 or so pages, like a YouTube and 3 Facebooks, and then Instagrams, TikToks, Twitch, a lot,
Oh,
Pandora,
Twitch.
Spotify. Yeah, like I'm not deciding. Twitch is different because you have to go live on Twitch, like on their site, for there to be any video saved or logged. Because I used to go
Mm-hmm.
live on there all the time, but then it never actually saved anything, so I had to move it to YouTube. So it's far better. But dude, you really have to be so good at everything, and then you have to find that one thing that sets you apart from everybody else. And it can be something stupid. It doesn't have to be like electric. There's
Mm-hmm.
some people that it's one word, like that's all they do. That's what you're remembered from, and it's crazy. Like I haven't talked to him in a while, but uh, I Mark Jindrak gave me a move to use, and it's so fucking brutal that like I just can't do it to anybody yet. I just don't feel
Mm-hmm.
comfortable killing anybody yet. But eventually I'll use it. Eventually I will use it. I even myself, I'm trying to. I'm at another stage of reinvention right now. I'm trying to, because I was all flashy, and I still am, but I'm working on being more Malenko, more Chris Benoit-ish in the ring.
Keep going,
Habu.
keep talking, because now you got me curious of where you're going,
I'm
Jackson Black.
coming in now. It'll be unleashed this Friday night. Resolute Wrestling. I will. So now I'm just gonna beat the shit out of people. That's kind of my idea. Like not like a John Moxley, but a like a methodical beatdown. That's what's gonna start happening now. I've started changing some things around. And me and
Yeah.
my have you met Andy yet?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
So Andy is my tag team partner.
yeah.
Yeah, so we've been tagging up at Resolute for a couple of months now, and we plan on taking those those title belts pretty soon. So that'll be happening. That'll be t
Nice.
title 6 or so, whatever it is.
Dang. Like no biggie. I'm
No
just
big.
throwing out
Hey,
those numbers.
nah, it doesn't matter until it's like I mean, it matters, but when it's like a CMLL or a AAA or a, a New Japan or something like that, then an ROH and MLW. I know I'm not saying WWE, even WWE, but I feel like that's not my avenue or it's ever going to be. Maybe as a commentator one day we'll see.
Ooh. Yeah,
Oh yeah, I'd be doing that too.
I always think WWE. That's like, and I like love and respect and am entertained by all these other companies, but for me it like really is WWE.
I think if I
I
could go
think.
anywhere, it would either be like it'd be Japan first, and then maybe Mexico. I want to do some
Okay.
Europe. I want to do a European tour, but I think my home would be like at a ROH. Like that would be where I would, because that's my. I'm a technical wrestler. I'm not a flippy floppy fly kind of guy.
LOL. Oh
I
God.
I stretch the fuck out of people. That's what I do. Like that's what I do. And I
I'm
have.
taking notes, dude, because I'm gonna come back at you with all this stuff.
I'm
Just
gonna
so you
hit.
know.
I'm calling it here right now. Uh, Friday night I will be hitting on who I don't know who the opponent is. I know me and my tag team partner are tagging, but I will be putting somebody in the lasso from El Paso, and that is happening.
Hmm.
Yeah, throwback to Eddie Guerrero, baby.
Dang. Okay.
That's where I get a lot of my inspiration. Is like Eddie Guerrero's, William Regal's, Dean Malenko's,
Oh yeah.
and now like a Zack Sabre Jr. and stuff like that. Okay, buddy. Here's the dun dun dun. Here's the final question of the round. This is the. I feel like you've begun, but let's. So you have your dreams and you know where your aspirations. And you know where you want to head up. So now you're at the end of the road. You got the boots in the ring. What do you want the legacy of Landon Ares to be?
Oh, that's a big question. Um, I think the legacy, um, I just really want people to know that they have a chance. And like I've come from very, very humble beginnings in a very, very small city in the southeast part of Tennessee. And I've just seen so many people who I don't want to say gave up, but they let go of a lot of things that they really wanted. And I think like I just want the legacy to be that, you know, your life is so special and divine, and you have all the power. Like you're basically God of your own life, right? And so it's like do everything you can to get to where you want to be. And that's what I want the legacy to be. No matter like where you come from, who you are, you got to execute and believe that you can.
Saying it is making it real, ladies and gentlemen. Well, this has been another exciting episode of the Jackson Black Show with my guest today, one of my good friends and one of my training partners, Mr. Landon Ares. Say bye bye to the people.
Bye, everyone.